My favorite line is when I get to speak my mind.
Yes, I know. You like that. Should I go? Can I?
I just wanted to make sure you knew that.
Can I go? You want
I'm
me
going to pick on you for a little bit.
I was afraid of that.
Thank you so much for opening for me.
Waited a long time for that. Pray for me.
I didn't have that plan. I cracked myself up. That's funny. Seriously, thank you so much for having me. This isn't anything that I ever dreamt that I would do, wanted to do, but I did think that it would be a great way to thank a lot of people all at one time. And many of you have walked with us the last 25 months, 22 years plus now after we lost Maria. So I get to come in person and thank each and every one of you. Consider yourself hugged by me, and just thank you so much for your prayers, for your continued prayers. We have felt so physically held during this time. And I'm here to bear witness that God is good, even when things are really, 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 really hard. And in the darkest part of our life so far, as being married almost 26 years, I'm not to the funny part yet. Wait. I can honestly say that I personally went on this free fall of faith, and when I landed, I tell people I face planted. I didn't necessarily land feet up, but I did land on the solid foundation of Jesus Christ, and so I'm here to bear witness to that He is what He says He is, and I'm just grateful to be here, so praise God for that. Okay, 3 things I said I would never do. Thank you. 3 things I said I would never do: homeschool, adopt, speak in public. It hasn't turned out, it's not working out very well at all. And so now I'm here to tell you that I'm never ever going on vacation to Hawaii for 6 months. Ever. You can't make me. Try as you may, I'm not going with you.
Right.
Ever. Right. So I'm going to try reverse psychology on God and see if that works. But I have a feeling it's not going to work out too well. But part of my story, some of you may be a little bit familiar, probably more so with him than me, but when I was born, I was convinced that I was probably the 4th member of the Trinity, or at the very least, God's right-hand man, and I knew how my life was to go, and it was to go well, and I was to grow up in a safe and secure environment, which for the most part I did. I would go to college, I would graduate with honors, I would stay there for 4 years, study hard, meet and marry the most predictable, on time, planned out to the T, just always knew what he was doing, 9 to 5, work hour, dinner on the table at 5:30 kind of guy. Instead, I got to marry, blessed and privileged to marry, this is when I usually have video, and it's a really great picture, but if you can envision, I married a guitar-playing, mullet-wearing, songwriting, singer, cowboy boot-wearing, green guitar-playing, I think you clog. Show them how you can clog real quick. Yeah, that's a good idea. Clog.
This is not supposed to happen.
Okay, go. Yeah. Okay, I gotta go. Okay. See, I can't do that. Opposites attract. But I'm always afraid that when people do envision what I might be like, that they might be envisioning like Ruth Graham or Mother Teresa or someone like that. So that's why I'm a little afraid to be here, because sometimes you never know what I'm going to say, and then I'm always afraid he's going to get in trouble because of something maybe I say. But no, seriously, our opposites do. Opposites have attracted. His glass has always been half full. My glass has always been half empty. I'm a bit of an Eeyore, and he's obviously, as you've seen, as he's dove in and went on the great adventure tonight, all bouncy little Tigger over there. And so God in His wisdom brought us together in what we like to call holy headlock instead of holy wedlock. Most days it's holy headlock. I mean holy wedlock most days. But this is the best part about Stephen and I's differences. Stephen thinks, and you guys probably could imagine this about him, Stephen thinks that practical jokes are pretty much, or should be, illegal, vandalism, all the bad things. And they're really a love language to me. I grew up in a home where the more the better, and the trickier the better, and the sneakier the better. And so I decided to play one of those out one night, and I thought it was a good idea because when Stephen goes on the road, that means Caleb's on the road, because they opened for me too. Man, that's really good. But anyway, so when Caleb goes on the road, and they're gone, I decide I'm going to take Stevie, Joy, and Shohana, and we're going to get in the minivan, and we're going to drive over to Julia's house. Julia is Caleb's sweet wife of 1 year, about 1.5 years now, and we're going to scare Julia. Well, now it's only 10 o'clock at night, so I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. And she had a friend with her who is a little bit, she's a little bit competitive, tenacious by nature, and so I thought, well, if they hear me kind of messing around outside, they'll probably come outside to see what it is. So Stevie, Joy, and Joey and I, we sneak around back, and we hear them in there, and they're all just giggling, having a good time. And I said, okay, count 3. Start knocking on the windows and scratching the walls and do what it is you do to scare people. And so we start all that. Before I know it, Joey's like trying to get in the back door, and I'm thinking all of a sudden it goes dead silent. And I just got that really sick feeling in my stomach, and I thought, this might not be such a great idea. So I said, girls, come on, we're going to go back. And they live in a neighborhood, I mean, you could touch the next house. It's not like they live out in the middle of nowhere. But I said, girls, I don't think this was such a good idea. Mom might have had a bad idea. And so we go back around to the front of the house, and I said, we better tell them who it is. So we start ringing the doorbell, and nobody comes, and nobody comes, and nobody comes. For the longest time, nobody came. And so finally, I'm just ringing the doorbell. I start kind of pounding on the door. And finally, Julia opens the door, and she's sobbing, crying. She's on her cell phone to 911, and I hear her say, all I hear her say is through her, she goes, yes, officer, it's okay, it's just my mother-in-law. And Joey and Stevie are standing there looking at me like, I don't think that's too funny, Mom, you're supposed to be laughing. And so I kind of learned my lesson the hard way, but Julia still loves me. He loves me so much that she's on tour with us as well, helping out at the Shoho booth. Yay, Julia! I think some of her friends are here as well. But anyway, so life goes on. The happily ever after ended on our wedding day. Does anybody, well, you can relate a little bit. I mean, we think that it is happily ever after, but I mean, the happily, like, we went to the Cincinnati Zoo on our honeymoon, and it was raining, and we were driving a green Ford Pinto that said, don't hit us in the rear end or we'll blow up. None of the animals were out, and it was just kind of, I think it was just a picture of how hard it was going to be on our way home. And, but we, you know what, we were just very wise at 19 and 21 years old, and with $50 in our pocket, and we drove back to Nashville, and then life started. And very, very many of you in this room understand where I'm going with that. By the time we blinked our eyes, we had 3 children under the age of 5, and Stephen literally headed out on the Great Adventure Tour, and that's about the time his career is really kind of heading into that, I guess, level A, big, huge arena tour, and I came to the end of myself, and I really just started struggling, and really just couldn't handle all of the pressure of just, we were so blessed with so much, but at the same time, just the reality of ministry and time away from home and navigating all of that at such a young age. And I really just came to the end of myself and really started struggling with probably what I'd struggled with a lot of my life, which is clinical depression. And I get to have the opportunity to speak at these Women of Faith conferences, and usually at the point in the speech, and I start to talk about clinical depression, I always say that I decided to seek counseling and get help, and with all the wonderful people that God put around me, and navigating all that, and finally coming to this diagnosis of clinical depression, that I ended up being put on antidepressant medication. And usually I go, okay, this is the part in the program where we go, 3 cheers for antidepressant medication. Hip hip. There you go, hip hip. Hip hip. See, yay, yay. And Stephen usually stands up and gives me a standing ovation, but he's being nice tonight, and he's not standing up and giving me a standing ovation. But at any rate, I still struggle, and I still take medication. But the reason I talk about that is because I don't want it to be something that we can't talk about, because it is a very difficult, sometimes unrelenting condition, and it has drawn me, and I have allowed it to draw me closer to Christ. It talks a lot. Paul talks a lot about his thorn in the flesh, and we don't actually know what that thorn in the flesh was, but we do know that it's what kept him close to Christ. And I'm hopefully allowing that part of my life to keep me drawn closer to the one who can ultimately heal that and take it away. But until then, I'm going to rely heavily on him and just walk this out day by day. And then, as if that wasn't enough, along came this beautiful miracle that we call adoption.